Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another album of the week. This, of course, is episode number 67. Now, since this was announced on episode number 4 of the Nasty Metal podcast, it is here, and of course, it is on a Sunday here, or very early Sunday, depending on or when you're watching it. It is on a Sunday, which makes it even more great for this because it's actually this is, of course, uploaded on the day of this album's anniversary, which, of course, is the third full-length album from, of course, British rock legends Whitesnake. It's Ready and Willing, which was released on May 31st, 1980. Now, since 2 weeks ago or a few weeks ago, I had a highlight or had spotlighted their live album, or at least one of their 2 live albums that they had released this year, which of course was live at Hammersmith. However, that was, of course, was pretty much the mark and end of an era for Whitesnake. That was definitely the mark and end of an era, since that was the last to feature the lineup that was at least present on albums such as Trouble and Love Hunter, which of course featured drummer Duck Dowle, who of course would then be replaced by none other than Deep Purple drummer Ian Paice, basically reuniting here basically 3/5 of the Mach 3 or even a Mach 4 lineup of Deep Purple. And so basically David Coverdale, John Lord, and Ian Paice. So in many ways, this is almost can be, if you were to way to look at this, you can look at this as almost like the Mach 5 Deep Purple lineup almost, or Mach 6, depending on how you want to look. Or again, you can again look at an album such as Come Taste the Band from Deep Purple, which for a while that was the final, or one of the last Deep Purple albums before coming back in 1984 with the Mach 2 lineup being reunited. However, with Come Taste the Band, you almost can look at that album as like the very first Whitesnake album, depending on how you look at. But for here, I almost want to just consider this like the unofficial Mach 5 Deep Purple lineup, basically. So again, it's just very something with this lineup right here. Again, on this album, that again having 3 of some of the members of Deep Purple here on this album. So let's definitely get into the actual music, since of course this is following 1979's album Love Hunter. There is definitely, you can see a lot of that shift, that transition. Like, it still has that straight up hard, heavy blues rock that you were kind of getting, with sounds such as Trouble and Love Hunter, and of course that classic Deep Purple or David Coverdale era Deep Purple sound with albums maybe like, for an example, May Burn or Stormbringer and Come Taste the Band. But it is starting to kind of, you really can start seeing a little bit of that shift. But this is a bit of a different album, because of this being sandwiched in between albums such as Love Hunter and Come and Get It. There is at least a bit of a slight difference in there. This one is almost a lot more melancholic and very melodic as well than compared to some of the other Whitesnake albums. I mean, compared to the 2 albums that came before this one, and of course compared to the albums that will come after this, especially when you look at the more popular era, which in many ways kind of was starting to transition with albums like Saints and Sinners, and of course then finally becoming almost in full force with Slide It In, and then of course the 1987 album and Slip of the Tongue. This album is definitely a much different sounding album. This is very, again, I think the word melancholic definitely is best is the best word to actually describe this album. I mean, you got some really cool, bluesy hard rockers on here. I mean, this is where the original version of Fool for Your Loving came from, which of course will get re-recorded on Slip of the Tongue. But then, of course, you then got other great tracks like Sweet Talker, and of course the title track on here, even Black and Blue, and She's a Woman. You still get some great, great, nice, heavy, rock, bluesy, hard rockers on here, but you got some real interesting, very just, I just want to use the word beautiful and brilliantly composed blues tracks that at times they're not, I don't know if I can call them ballads, but they have that feel, but they're just constructed in great ways that just, again, they just become very great guitar driven. These are just great bluesy power ballads on the sound, being, of course, Blind Man and Ain't Gonna Cry No More. Both these two songs are just very beautifully constructed power blues ballads. And they also, again, they got a nice punch to them when they finally do kick in. With some great guitar soloing from, of course, guys such as even Bernie Marsden and Mickey Moody. They both definitely added some great fucking guitar work on both these two songs. They are definitely one of the pieces that really holds this album together. And again, David Coverdale isn't very shy from adding in some great lyrics to these songs. And for those that say that he or anyone that has ever said that David Coverdale is kind of sexist, I guess you can say, or is too focused on basically just creating I don't know. I don't want to use. I hate to use words such as misogynistic because of later stuff. Again, songs just being more about love, sex, and everything. They obviously never heard, songs such as "Blind Man" and "Ain't Gonna Cry No More." They've never heard these two songs. These two songs are some of the pinnacle of some of David Coverdale's greatest song achievements. Again, they are just written very great. He definitely can write some great, beautiful, composed songs. And again, songs such as Blind Man is one of those that in many ways can really, can lift one person up. Again, it seems to really, for somebody who is feeling very down on one day, this is a song that really can lift one up. It's fucking powerful with this track. It's a powerfully written song. And of course, Ain't Gonna Cry No More is another one. They are both powerfully written ballads. So, definitely one of the best achievements, I think, for David Coverdale and co. On this album. Of course, we then got, one rule. We got Carry Your Load, which again, is kind of a slow track. And it's another decent song, too, off the sound. Then, of course, we got Love Man, which is pretty much typical of this era of Whitesnake. It's definitely a blues rock song, but again, I also dig this song quite a bit. It's definitely a very cool, good, uplifting blues rock song. I dig it. So just great. And of course, again, She's a Woman. Okay. It's kind of again, it's typical again of David Coverdale, but I mean, this song does kind of start off kind of a very, keyboardy. John Lord was definitely using them synth sound or keyboard synth sound on this song, but in the way it just starts off, but it just turns into a great, grab you by the jugular riff rocker. There's a great boogie song. It's again, great way to end the album. So, Ready and Willing from Whitesnake, definitely a good album and definitely for sure propels them into the 1980s and definitely is a great reuniting of course, the 3/5 of Deep Purple on this album, being again David Coverdale, John Lord, and Ian Paice. And again, Duck Dowle was not a bad drummer. He definitely kept his. He definitely can keep this pace. No pun intended, but he definitely could keep a rhythm and everything. And again, his drumming on treble is actually pretty damn good. But Ian Paice is definitely a legend in many ways. He is definitely one of the one of the greatest rock drummers of all time. And since, of course, next week I'll be, of course, covering Deep Purple and rock, which again also features some. I'll kind of save the rest of my opinions, but I just gotta say that album right there is like Ian Paice really beginning to show his stuff. He was really beginning to just fucking kick the shit out of the fucking drums on that album. He was literally really kicking the rhythm into gear on that album. But again, from that was like the beginning there, and here you really could definitely get some of that. He is definitely one of the best drummers. So definitely great album. Again, this album hit its 4th anniversary, and of course, knowing whenever I do these, I always have to always put out there again for those who have grew up with this album. Definitely let me know what were your thoughts on this album. But for those who were not familiar with this era of Whitesnake, this is definitely a good album you could begin with. This is definitely a good album you definitely can, because it's definitely a good combination and mix of the bluesy era and just, again, some of David Coverdale's best song lyrics as far as him as a writer. Is definitely featured on this album. But also, since it's hit its 4th anniversary, I bet some of you are gonna feel inspired to pull this album out once again, to actually give it a listen. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this Heavy Thrash Sam out. I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.